Go.
Good evening. I'm Buddy Martin. I'm not Lord Menace. He's not here tonight. I'm just about to be here. Rolled in from a 7-hour trip on Panama City. What a hairy trip that was. But glad to see the smiling faces of my colleagues. FRANZ Beard, hardest working man in showbiz. Rob Browne, working right behind him. And Brendan Martin has been busting his up all day, getting me in my apartment over here and getting set up and getting this show on the air. And I wasn't even supposed to be here. But good evening, guys.
Well, good evening and welcome to your own show. But the own show, you don't have to stay for long, but you just have to show your pretty face so we can approve our writer. Gentlemen, we'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Evening, welcome to the program. I'm not Brendan Martin. He is. That's FRANZ Beard. And
I'm Buddy Martin.
He's Buddy Martin.
Yeah, I'm going to be Buddy for a little.
I had a thought about you tonight because many travels we've had, many travels over the years. We've seen and done a lot of things. I had quite an unusual one today. I'll tell you about it later. My stepson and I wrote a song called "Broken Down in Bluntstown." It was kind of a parody, Broken Down in Bluntstown. I actually broke down in Bluntstown today coming out here. And I lost they call it a coil. I found out it's more like a spark plug. And if you're about in the middle of nowhere, not knowing what's going to charge you for your car problem, you're thinking thousands, whatever, you're kind of at mercy. And I must say they handle it very nice over there at AutoZone and it got him Buddy out at AutoZone in Bluntstown and then out to Tony to get the coil put in. So only set us back an hour. We finally made it. Couldn't figure out why my car was jerking. And then to add to the adventure, friends, we came across I-10 and down, and it was a busy day. I've never seen so many trucks, never in my life, as I saw on I-75. So we cut it close on the gas, but I was age real close. And they said, well, you have 35 miles to go and you have 42 miles of road to gas. So I'm going to try to take it down and get to the other side of Gainesville and go and get some gas. That sounded great in theory, except you didn't count for the fact that some of the trucks stopped along the way. You burn more gas. I literally got down to zero left in my gas tank. And I'm driving the shoulder of the road to try and get some gas somewhere. And I'm calling Brendan on the phone. And he said, put it in neutral. I said, I don't think I even could coast.
I think I have to jump in at this point because FRANZ, it's getting thick. I think at this point, Buddy calls me and it's far more of a panic because I would be too, because in that situation sucks because he pulls into one side of a gas station and it's a Pilot or whatever it is. And it's for trucks, but Buddy's off-roading. See, we have to understand Buddy has decided to make his own path to said road. So, he's not, he's got a show to do. He's got to get in there. But to his credit, he figures it out. He gets to the other side of the show and he makes it here on time.
Big trucks and diesel and no gas.
Big trucks and diesel.
And there I am.
There he is.
I can zero my gas tank. Okay.
In the Congo.
Anyway, we did pull across the way. We somehow got there and got the gas tank filled up and waited in. But just another exciting day in the travel. France, we've had a few over the years.
Well, you know what? It was more fun, I think, when we took the wrong road and we end up going up to Tennessee for the I guess it was a 2000.
Florida Tennessee game.
Yeah, Florida Tennessee game. I guess that was in 2008, was it? Yeah, it was 2008, and we were at the place on the Oconee River where they say they filmed Deliverance, and punctured a tire. This guy comes up. His car is basic Bondo. He has bungee cords holding his doors together, and he comes up there and says, "I'll change that tar for you." And we went, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, I know how to do this," and he did, which was amazing. We sat there, and there were, let's see, Mark McLeod, Tim Casey, John Finneran, me, Brendan, and Buddy. That was our crew. We were
Double team.
traveling. We had come up from Atlanta, and we got the tire change, but we got that little donut thingy on it. All right, and now we got to get a tire. So the guy who changed it said, "You need to go down to Billy's place." And where's that Billy? Billy's place? Yeah, follow me. We did. We pull in this van. We pull into Billy's place, and there's this guy who's got a cigarette that's about this long, with an ash that's even longer, just kind of hanging down. And literally, they got the jack under the car, and the van hasn't even stopped, and the van has got the jack underneath it, and they're starting to jack it up. Brendan hasn't even put it in park yet, and then all of a sudden, the guy looks around, and we're sitting there stunned, and the guy looks around and says, "I ain't got your tar." "You don't? You ain't?" "No, I ain't." "Where's the closest place that has one?" "Cleveland." I said, and Brendan's first comment was Ohio.
My first comment was like, "Ba-da-dang, dang, 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 dang. You got a pretty mouth. Get that cigarette out of your mouth." And then we went to the Franz. If I take any longer for you to tell this damn story, I'm not going to have any more viewers. I love you to pieces, but damn it, the rankings are out, and I want to talk about them. 20 minutes ago, Franz, I'll let you get first crack at it as I put them on the screen. Have you seen them,
Yes.
sir?
Yes,
What
I
are
have.
your thoughts?
Ole Miss at number 11 is ridiculous. Ole Miss is, I'm going to tell you what, Ole Miss is right now the scariest team in the country. I was listening to a talk show yesterday, and the guy says, you put Ohio State's uniforms on Ole Miss, and they become the scariest team we've seen in years. And they lost 2 games that they should have won, largely because of penalties and stuff like that. But right now they're playing really, really well. They got all their defenders back. 46 sacks, lead the nation, the number 2 rushing defense, number 2 scoring defense in the country. And they can score points. I think that the SEC will get 5 teams in. They got 5 right now. I think they will. I think the ACC, whoever wins between probably Miami and SMU, but they're only going to get that 1 team in. Big 12 is only going to get that 1 team in. And here's the deal, too. If BYU loses in their championship game, and they have gone 12-0 in the regular season, then lose their championship game, they don't get in. If Indiana loses to Ohio State this week, they ain't getting in. Indiana's only hope to get in is they are going to have to win them all, really. And let me throw one other thing and let you guys talk about it. Notre Dame does not have to play in a championship game. They get a bye week, and then they will get a home game. I got to tell you what, guys, there's something wrong with this system.
Rob, I'm going to throw my 2 cents in because I know you're yours is far more interesting in this arena because I know we've talked about it at length. But and tomorrow on the show, I hope we were going to be talking to Matt. His son is the AD at Oregon. Is that right? From,
Matt will be on Thursday. Yeah, and his son
Thursday,
is on
yeah.
the staff. His son is the director of scouting and recruiting for Oregon with Dan Lanning. Yeah.
Yeah, Dan Lanning. So, Rob, I'll let you. I know you were just. My point was, I was tired. I jumped into the host role here last second, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
Got behind, and Lauren's not with us. So, talk to us about Oregon. What you were just with Matt, getting him dialed in, and I know you guys are good friends. So I want you to jump in next.
Yeah, and listen, Brendan, I want to hear what you got to say. Hell, you know.
Well,
what
mine
you're
has
talking
less
about.
to do. Mine has less to do with top 25 right now, and a lot more to do with the University of Florida. But
All right, let me show you.
This is breaking news, not breaking news. Top of mind. This just came out 20 minutes ago, so I just want to get it.
I've been emailing back and forth with General Clark, Richard Clark, the chairman of the College Football Playoff Committee, just a minute ago. We're looking to have him on, like on the 27th that morning, and that's going to be right there before the end of the season. So that's going to be a great segment on our Sidelines morning show. Look, I had lunch today with Matt Dean and over at Rhodes College in Memphis. Oregon is really strong. I don't mind them being number one. Franz made a good point when he was on the show this morning. Ohio State is loaded. But I look at Texas, the toughest team they played all year, Georgia, and they got ass whipped. Okay? Penn State, James Franklin, call this recency bias or whatever. He's 1-13 in top 5 matchups. Indiana, living on a prayer. BYU, living on a prayer. Tennessee fans up here in Memphis are like, we're the worst 8-1 team in America. That's what I hear from them. Notre Dame, France is right. The best they can do is number 5. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Number 9, Miami. How many games have they been just skating on thin ice? Finally, it caught up with them. Georgia Tech beat them at Grant Field, Bobby Dodd Stadium in Atlanta last weekend. It's 2 years in a row now. But the one, if you'll scroll down to 10, 11, and 12, Brendan, and these are great graphics. You look at 10, Alabama. Alabama would just ass stomp Miami. 11, Ole Miss.
Ass stomping.
Swap Ole Miss with Tennessee. And Georgia goes from 2 or 3 to 12. Guys, let's go back to last year when Alabama, which has beaten Georgia 9 of the last 10 times they played. I was at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta for the SEC championship game. I was there. Georgia went from 1 to 6. They go from 2 or 3 the other day, losing to a damn good Ole Miss team. And Franz was so eloquent this morning as he was talking about his Ole Miss at 11. Ole Miss should be way higher. I mean, 6, 7. But you know what? These rankings are doing exactly what they want them to do. They're getting people to talk, and they're controversial. LSU, Brian Kelly, they're 22nd now. And we talked this morning. That's crazy. They look like they had not seen a football field. That's what Ron Higgins said yesterday. Look, I'm going to tell you what, when you get past Georgia Georgia falls that far to number 12, come on.
Yeah.
There's a lot to argue about either way.
Urban Meyer said it last week. He goes, I don't understand how the power rankings work yet. He said he was a big proponent of he loves the playoffs and he loves what's going on. I think a lot of people do. I think we're all loving the week to week freaking heart attack drama session. I mean, I think it's like old days of like, what is it? The hourglass, like sands.
These are the days of our lives.
Are the days of our lives, right?
Like sands through the hourglass.
That's how I have this like every day. Because like when you do this for a living and you're, I mean, God, it is next to impossible to really to cover it all. So
South Carolina's at 21. I mean,
I don't
FRANZ,
know,
how
man.
about that?
I don't
Well,
know.
the chickens are,
Holy
the chickens are
cow.
very, very good. Um, the one
Wow.
thing I like about an expanded playoff is the fact that you can maybe have that loss at the beginning of the year, that in the four-team uh, system, uh, it just you can lose that first game of the year and you're screwed. Particularly if you just have a bad game, your quarterback's hurt or something like that, you can be really screwed. And the 12-team playoff allows a certain amount of forgiveness, but it also, as you just pointed out, it expands the interest. I haven't seen this many people really focused and happy with football this late in the year, and it's been a lot of years.
Yeah.
Gator fans obviously were in 2006 and again 2008 and during the Spurrier years, but I'm talking about fans in general, the whole shebang, everybody. There are so many teams that have a shot now, and it's amazing. I talked to a guy that I know who went to West Point, and he's thinking, "Hey, we could run the table. We could make the playoff as that number 12 team, that team from the group of five." And he's right; they couldn't. And he's thinking, 2 years ago, even a year ago, we couldn't have had a chance. But now what was that line from Dumb and Dumber? So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. There is.
Yeah. I mean,
It's a really, I think the expanded playoff is good. I think they're gonna maybe within a year or two expand it one more time to get to 16 teams, and I think that should be it. If they're going to keep the group of five teams in there, expand it to 16. And if you're not going to keep the group of five teams in there, give them their own playoff.
Well, I think expansion is no question. I think that's the whole thing. I think that, I mean, to me, it seems it's obvious. I would welcome into the program to his own show. That's not his show, but it is his show nights, ladies and gentlemen. It's none other than the Mr. Coach Lauren Meadows.
hey,
Welcome to your show, sir.
Yeah, appreciate you filling in for me tonight. I got called away to other duties, but
A team effort.
Lady Gators got a win tonight. Put it on Chicago State, so here we are. And I hear you guys talk about the playoff. I had a discussion with somebody, and FRANZ, you could chime in. I know how you like to get. I am I'm not an Indiana believer yet, and somebody was saying that, but I am a Texas believer. And despite what Texas may have done against Georgia, I think the eye test. The question may be is Texas too high, but I explained to somebody if they win the SEC, they're going to be in the top four anyway. And jury's still out on IU. They got a big game in a couple weeks with Ohio State, so it'll be interesting. But I mean, obviously having a great year. But if I had my last ham sandwich and I had to bet it on IU or Texas, from what I saw on Saturday in person in Austin, I'm gonna take the Longhorns.
I think Texas is right now. If Ewers can play like he played Saturday against the Gators, Texas is gonna be hell to pay anybody. And the same's true with Ole Miss. I'm gonna throw this at you. Ole Miss, Texas for the national championship. What would you think about that?
That'd be fun. I mean, that's what it's about, is getting the best two teams, isn't it? I mean, for so long, because of conference loyalty and divisions, and now we're kind of getting to the point. I mean, you think about it, a few years back, Dan Mullen, what, second and third season, he played the national champion better than anybody. I mean, so think if there'd have been a 12-team playoff and the Florida Gators would have got a second crack at Joe Burrow, or a second crack at Mac Jones and Alabama, and you would have had that maybe with a 12-team playoff. So I like it.
2012, it was the 12-team playoff. Florida lost its only regular season loss was to Georgia, a game when when Justin Reed fumbles the football going in for what would have been a touchdown. Then they would have tried to go for two afterward, but that was Florida's only regular season loss. So that season was very, very unforgiving for the Gators. And you can think of a lot of scenarios. Go back to 2006. Kirk Herbstreit was lobbying until he was blue in the face that it should be Ohio State and Michigan, easily the best two teams. Well, Michigan didn't get in. Ohio State wasn't the best team in the country. Florida only beat them by 27. And the only reason it was 27 was Urban just ran the ball in the second half because he didn't want to embarrass his buddy Jim Tressel. Should have been a 40-point blowout, guys.
Guys, somebody explain to me why Georgia goes from 2 or 3 all the way down to 12. Same thing happened to them last year. I still think Georgia's the best team in the SEC. What they did to Texas and Austin proved that. And then Ole Miss is kicking themselves, but it's probably why they're playing so well now, the way they lost to Kentucky and the way they lost to LSU. LSU under Brian Kelly, it's year 3. It's the same old story. I mean, he's a 9-3 coach at LSU. That's what he's proving to be. I look at Alabama, Jalen Milroe, Rodney Orr, Tider Insider said this morning. He said it last year before Jalen was a starter. He said, he's this kind of quarterback. And Gary Harris, they both cover Alabama for Tider Insider TV. You're going to be like, did you see what he just did? And then there's going to be, did you see what he just did? He's a 180 guy. But they tried to make him stand in the pocket against Tennessee, which they did 50 times. 50 called pass plays. 19 of them to reclassified freshman, 17-year-old Ryan Williams. 19. 5 times he ran. He ran 12 times for 185 yards Saturday at the University of Alabama in Baton Rouge. Alabama is 30-10-2 in Tiger Stadium. I'll tell you right now, with Alabama, if they keep doing what they're doing, they're going to win the national championship. Franz, you had the best quote I've heard on this show, in the morning show or the night show. You said they're an arm's length away from a championship. They had their Mike Shula, but then they got Nick Saban. That was a great take.
But you see, they're always going to be that. You know? And it because it is Alabama, and we tend to forget that they've got things going for them that nobody else has, and the reason they do is because years and years and years of tradition. They were winning national championships in the 1920s when they were going out to the Rose Bowl. Back when they had Wallace Wade, then they followed him up with Frank Thomas, who became a pretty good football coach in his own right, and he had a guy named Bear Bryant who was one of his All-American in from Fordyce, Arkansas, and he turned out to be a pretty good football player and coach himself. But they're always going to be an arm's length away from a championship. You're not going to take that away from them. Georgia is everybody's hot little darling right now, just like Florida was from 1990 until 2001, the 12 years of Spurrier. Florida was everybody's darling and should have been the way they played. Florida was from 2005 until 2009. 2010, forget it, because that was a bad season. But for Urban Meyer's first 5 years. And the Gators haven't been. But Alabama's always has been. Even in their bad years, and they had a bunch of them because they were trying to find the next Bear Bryant, they were still just an arm's length away. It only took, how many years, guys, did it take for Nick Saban to assemble a national championship team?
3 years. Yep.
Undefeated regular season, how many? 2.
Yeah.
Let me correct something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw this, Lauren. What I'm saying about Georgia being the best team is, well, you could say Alabama is as well. We know they lost to Vanderbilt. We know they lost to Tennessee. But Alabama has, what's the best victory in the conference this year, Lauren? Alabama beating Georgia or Georgia beating Texas on the road? That's why I'm saying that about Texas.
Yeah, no. I agree. No, I agree with you. I think the only thing that you got to look at Georgia is, I don't think you can win with poor quarterback play.
No,
and that's what's going to be the Achilles heel and I think that's why maybe they dropped to 12th. Is those that are ranking these things are looking at the way that Carson Beck is playing right now, which is bad. I mean, it's god awful. I think a lot of people need to come off.
Yeah, Kirby wants to sit him, I think.
Right. I think a lot of people need to come off this whole Vanderbilt beating Alabama thing. And the reason is I think we're conditioned in this world. We were conditioned to, you got to have 2 undefeated teams, and those 2 have to play for a national title. And then we have to take the 4 undefeated teams or 1 with 1 loss, and those 4 have to play. You're going to have more of what you see in the NFL, where you've got a team that either gets hot late. You mentioned it, Rob, back in August. You got to play close to – you're going to play 16 to 17 games.
Yeah.
This thing is not a sprint. It's a marathon. So when you look at an Alabama, you look at a Georgia, you look at the level of talent, you look at them adding some pieces, it takes time maybe to get that cohesion and get it to where you're going. So looking at a team right now, even with 4 weeks left in the season per se, it's a long way to go. Teams get to get better. Like I said, coaches get to change the way they do things and they find what works. Alabama, for instance, you got to say to Jalen Milroe, sick him, which means he's got to use defeat to be effective.
Yes.
If you're not going to use defeat, then forget it. There's no way he should be ever sitting in the pocket 50 times a game in any football game. Now, he can drop back 50 times, but 12, 15 of them is, all right, get loose and get to it. So, I mean, it's a long way to go still. And I would not be shocked if Georgia is standing there at the end, as much as personally, I don't ever want to see that again in life. But the way this thing is structured, if Georgia's that 12 team sitting there, it's tough out.
Well, I think you hit the nail right on the head because, you and I are pretty much the same person. Waist up. That's basically, I think you are. I think that there are so many analysts, there's so many people crunching numbers. That job is such a job now that there's no way they're not thinking ahead already, or were thinking ahead already. They knew this season was going to be the turning season, right? This was going to be, everything was going to be different. Everything you've known before this season, throw it out the window, because it's not going to be like it was before. You can't count on tendencies. It doesn't matter. All things are up. All bets are off. All recruiting is different. Facilities don't matter anymore. Everyone's got a Lamborghini or a Hellcat or whatever the hell. It's all different. Now, we've all discussed that ad nauseum. We know that. But, so I think, I think a lot of these coaches knew, not a lot, I don't mean it like that, so epiphany-esque, but I think they knew going in, you didn't have to run the table. You didn't have to go undefeated.
Correct.
And I think the smart coaches knew that. And then you tell me if you agree or disagree, you also know that being healthy at the right time and peaking at the right time is, the most important thing you can do, especially in tournament play, for a championship, at all, a la basketball. So we're seeing France to sort of dovetail what you were saying. Yeah, 12 teams, 16 teams. Yeah, I think we're going to see a huge expansion in this playoff system. We're going to see more of that structure because, damn, if that doesn't make a lot of money.
Well, here's the thing, guys. Billy Donovan once said after the 2006 national championship, he said, "Were we the best team in the country?" He said, "We're the team that went 6-0 in the tournament." He said, "I don't know that we were the best team, but we're the team that went 6-0 when it mattered." And this is what an expanded playoff does, because some team is going to go 4-0. Some team is going to be the hot team that goes 4-0. Um, I I love you, Rob, but I will disagree with you about Georgia. I think Georgia has holes that they haven't had before, and our expectation has been that they would always fill the holes. They had a game this year, one game that they looked like Georgia. Florida should have beaten them and could have beaten them with DJ Lagway healthy. I don't think they're the team they've been in the past. Now that doesn't take away what they've done in the past, but they're living on their reputation now. And Carson Beck could be a great quarterback if he'd stop completing passes to the other team. He, you know, hey, safety, go out, go down by the Chevy. I'm going to throw it to you. He's having a horrendous year. LSU was mentioned earlier. Old 9-3 by Rob. Good analogy. Look at Garrett Nussmeier, 11 interceptions this year, and I wouldn't doubt he'll throw a couple passes to Florida this week. Wouldn't doubt that at all. But you look over there at Alabama, and why is Alabama going to be an arm's length away this year? Well, we look at passing. Jalen Milroe has thrown 6 interceptions. Too many, of course, but how many has he thrown in the big games? That's what's interesting. He has thrown none against LSU, none in the win over Missouri. This is a guy that suddenly has it together, and that's what it takes. Somebody's going to get hot. Somebody's going to have one guy that gets it together and carries the football team to a championship. Just as I guess it was 2015, Derrick Henry, Alabama's offense was well, Derrick, you've only carried the ball 62 times. Do you think you can do 63? And that was kind of the offense, because any team that can win a championship with Jacob Coker at quarterback, I'm telling you what, that may be the greatest feat since Jesus changed the water into wine.
Whoa!
It also helps when you got them nasty dog catchers on defense too. They had the defense was nasty. But I will say this: it's time to go out. I hear music.
I was trying to get somebody's attention because we got to pay the bills real quick.
All right, go ahead, pay the bills. I'll make this point.
We are excited to let you know about Titan MRI, now open to save the greater Gainesville area. Focus on the patient. Have a great customer service experience. We know people like you live a very busy life, and although we have regular business hours, we are available by appointments at evenings and weekends in order to meet your scheduling needs. Our MRI equipment is modern. Our MRI unit has one of the largest bores opening for guys like you, Lauren, and any of the newer, higher strength MRI units at 71 centimeters. It allows comfort scanning and potential claustrophobic for people like larger patients or people who are potentially not comfortable. This is your thing. Go check them out. Titan MRI. They are Gainesville and Lake City. Just want to get that right. 352-672-6644. Or in Lake City, 386-245-6644. Thank you, Titan MRI, for sponsoring our show, and thank you guys for listening.
That's BR549.
Got to give them a little love. Got to give them love. I haven't read their copy, and they're great sponsors. I just want to make sure we get.
What I wanted to say is, I think here's the story of Alabama, and I think when you look at Kalen DeBoer, at least from an offensive standpoint, who do you have last year? He had Michael Penix. Last 2 years, it worked for him. Michael Penix had the offense set, everything. And I think initially he went in and said, hey, I'm going to make Jalen Milroe the next Michael Penix. And I think what they figured out now is they've gone back and maybe looked at what worked for Milroe last year and said, forget that. We're going to continue to make him a better Jalen Milroe. So when you look at Alabama, early they were probably trying to scheme some things, maybe help him get his draft stock up, some of those things, and turn him into a Michael Penix. With the group they got now, I think they figured out, or starting to figure out, that Jalen Milroe can be improved, but it's only for, he can only do certain things. He's limited, but once again, like I said, with the feet and the varied offense that you can have with somebody that can skirt out on you, they got something going.
Well, I picked, when I say Georgia's the best team, the first quarter against Alabama in Tuscaloosa, September 28th, they're down 28-0. And then Georgia goes on the road and dominates Texas, beats them soundly. I don't think if they played again, the result would be that different. I think Quinn Ewers has missed in the last 3 years 7, maybe 8 games. I don't know how durable, I don't know how tough he is. Keep that in mind, folks. But when you look at Georgia, the first quarter against Alabama in Tuscaloosa, they were dominated. The next 3 quarters, they came back at the end. That would have been the greatest comeback ever. That would have beat the comeback by Auburn in 2010 in Tuscaloosa, okay? Then they get dominated by Ole Miss. I'll give Ole Miss credit for that. And now Tennessee is the worst 8-1. That's what so many of their fans, I keep hearing them say that. You're 8-1. But I'll say this. Compare DJ Lagway to Nico Iamaleava. The only thing Nico's got better is apparently he's got an $8 million NIL deal. God help the person that put that together, because he does not look like a guy worth $8 million. What keeps Tennessee in every game is an excellent defense with Tim Banks and Rodney Garner, the defensive line coach. They've got depth. And then Dylan Sampson, the running back, their stud running back with, 21 touchdowns out of Baton Rouge. They're playing old school football. So now they're going down to Georgia to play them. Georgia's backed into a corner. But, guys, I picked Ole Miss to beat Georgia last weekend because I was like, Carson Beck's going the wrong way. He's not trending the right way. They're not running the ball well. And you sit there and you say, well, what is Georgia doing well? Well, they're doing a lot well, but they can't run the ball. And Ole Miss has probably the best defensive front in college football. So the 3 best teams in the SEC, Georgia, yeah, Alabama, yeah, Texas, and now here comes Ole Miss. Guys, somebody this tiebreaker thing for me, because I'm not really understanding it, but we might have 5 teams at 10-2 and Texas at 11-1. And, buddy, you're a TV guy. You got an Emmy on your wall, the only guy I know with an Emmy. What are the TV people saying right now? They got to be loving this stuff.
Yeah, what they're saying is thank you for the great ratings and kind of numbers
very simple
right now. But it is the show we all thought it might be. That they ever got their act together and had these quality games, not these cream puff games. Now we got them. There's a price to be paid. Some teams are going to not make it because they're running out of bodies. And look, like it was pointed out to me by Shane, nobody else has got 3 quarterbacks in the SEC but Ole Miss. And Florida certainly doesn't. So the premium on depth, quality, recruiting, and stamina and health, we don't know what we're going to see. The reason you can't pick a team out is you're not sure how these teams are going to play this week. You just don't know. I mean, Tennessee could fall flat on their face, or they could play really well.
They're 10-point dogs they are 10-point dogs at Athens, even though they are the higher ranked team in both the AP and the College Football Playoff Bowl.
It's kind of
it should be worse. I'll take that cover for Georgia.
Tennessee?
Sir?
Tennessee covers?
No, Georgia covers. I'll take that cover for Georgia.
I don't think Tennessee might cover.
So we need to tell this couple that thinks I'm a dumbass for saying Georgia's so good. Want me to get off the show? You can kiss my, good.
Nah,
That's fine.
he just messing with you. He's a good
care.
dude. Greg's a good dude.
That's what I'm saying. I agree with him. What he said. It's confusing. Georgia is
Keep
higher,
in mind,
lower ranked.
Rob. Keep
Yeah.
in mind, being behind enemy lines. When you say Georgia,
No, I know.
ain't the same as Tennessee or whatever.
But buddy, I'm laughing about it. I'm just having fun with it. Buddy, you're right. And Lauren, Tennessee's ranked 7th and Georgia's 12th. Buddy, when was the last time you saw them be a 10-point underdog? But remember 2 years ago when Tennessee was number 1? What happened when they went to Athens?
Yeah, I know. And it's just going to change more in the next couple of weeks. I just think Ole Miss is a quality team right now. It's the team I like best, but I don't think they can get there because they have 2 losses. And maybe it's a good thing. Maybe not playing in the SEC championship game is a good thing because you get that time off and go right to the playoffs. So that might be a plus. We don't know. I just know that I think that we're talking about a conference that's strong in the middle right now. There's some really good teams in there right now that 4th, 5th, 6th that you can look at and say, hey, you never know. You never know. But right now, if Texas holds serve, and I'm not sure they will, but except for the fact I think Texas A&M could beat them. I think the team I like the most is Ole Miss. Georgia has lost something. LSU has definitely lost something. By the way, guys, this Saturday, it'll be the what? What was here? 220 of the year of the throne shoe, the curse of the throne shoe.
4-year anniversary.
yeah. And by the way, just remember.
Oh God.
The coaches were Mullen and
who threw the shoe?
Coach
Mullen and Coach O.
I liked LSU a whole lot more back in the days. Coach O personified everything college football should be about.
Mm-hmm. Let me give you the flashback because I did it this morning for Shane's show. Shoegate 2020. Seems like yesterday, but Mullen and Orgeron were the coaches. Florida lost 37-34 on an eerie night in the song. I mean, that was one of the most eerie nights I've ever been around. Marco Wilson ripped off the shoe of Cole Taylor. Now, there's a great trivia question for you. Cole Taylor, but you won some money in the bar at Flame. LSU went on to kick the winning field goal 57 yards in a fog as thick as pea soup, all right, by Cade York. And with 23 seconds left to upset the number 6 Florida Gators, don't forget that. And things have never been the same since. Somebody needs to go get that shoe and burn it.
Well, the thing that killed me about that ball game, and I think I've mentioned it to you, buddy, and Brendan afterward, was that game was more the shoe hurt. The shoe killed. But look at the opportunities Florida had and just blew that ball game. That was a game Florida had. It should have never come down to a shoe.
That weird interception on the Trask on the sideline took an odd bounce, and they got the interception. I mean, there's some crazy when things start happening like that. I'm thinking, okay, that's it.
You know whose fault it was? My father, God rest his soul, passed away the day before. He was a Florida State fan, and that was him saying, "I got one more for you, son."
Oh no!
And he got me. That was his last dig as a Florida State fan, and it ain't been the same since.
Evan McPherson has a 51-yard field goal that can win the game for the Gators. There at the end, and I swear, if it missed by more than that much, I've talked to we only had like 18,000 people allowed in the stadium because that was the COVID year. But I've had people who swear that field goal was good. Who knows? It was just a weird night. I mean, somebody told me about that, and I flashed back to a game in White Oak, North Carolina, when I'm 18 years old, writing sports in Wilmington. and a playoff game gets the field goal that wins a playoff game gets waved off, and the official after the game says, "Why?" He says it was too high.
Yeah.
So, but I had that flashback to that.
Mm.
But you just look at the things. The interception Buddy talked about, the right tackle there, suddenly just going into a brain fog, and Kyle Trask gets sacked and fumbles the ball, and they end up with about an 8-yard touchdown drive there. Things that just didn't happen, and they happened that night. It was weird. The fog is to blame.
Yeah, I had tickets to that game. Unfortunately, didn't get to make it down. I was still living in Ohio, but yeah, I just remember, man. I mean, it was, and think about the way Florida. I mean, you look at Florida winning. If they were able to win that game, and then the way they turned around and played Alabama in that SEC championship game. I mean, they had a heck of an argument to slip in that fourth spot to the playoff, and what could have been. I mean, that was a really good football team offensively, and really defensively they were playing pretty well too. And I mean, it just with a 12-team playoff. I mean, I know a lot of people think I don't know who doesn't like the 12-team playoff, but going back to where this all started, I mean, the parity and the opportunity to get one from from behind the pole a little bit is there. I mean, it's going to be interesting.
Now, you know what else we're thinking about? I'm not so sure. LSU is the second biggest rivalry Florida's got now. Really, I mean, more so than Florida State. The games in the last 10 years been lopsided, but that's been the fierce rivalry. Look at the games, games, and bitterness back and forth. And I mean, it's been, and they're not even the same. They're not in the same division. There is no division. The point is that it's up there with Georgia right now. It's up there with Georgia.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you something else that it just passes through my functioning brain, barely functioning brain tonight, and that is everybody is discounting Ashton Jeanty, who runs for Boise State. And I have watched a bunch of Boise State football games this year. And the guy, he is originally from Jacksonville, Florida. His dad was a career Navy flag officer, by the way, who ended up settling in Texas because he wanted his kid to have the best shot. And yet, his best offer other than Boise State, I think, was Sam Houston. And you look at this guy, and we talk about one team getting hot, one team with one player getting hot at the right time. You look back to Devontae Smith in 2020, the hot guy that carried Auburn. I mean, what am I saying? Alabama? Yeah, sorry about that, Rob.
It's a nightmare.
You look at that. Auburn makes the national championship game in 2014 when Jason Marshall just all of a sudden goes into a coma, and everything he does works. Auburn still should have won that ball game against FSU. That's 2013. Sorry about that.
Yeah, crab legs. Yeah.
Yes. King Crab.
Nick Marshall, wasn't it?
Nick Marshall out of Pineview, Georgia. Yeah. And I mean, guys, I think that this season, I mean, we go back to the SEC, Texas, Georgia, Alabama. Buddy's right about Ole Miss. I mean, and here's what's funny about Ole Miss. Their running game really hadn't done anything. Henry Parrish has been at Logan Diggs. Where's Ulysses Bentley the fourth been? That guy's a stud. And look who's knocking on the door trying to get in. The SMU Ponies. I mean, they got enough money to just, the playoff committee is in Dallas, by the way, at an undisclosed location. I wonder if any SMU, donors might go by. I'm kidding.
And probably at the Anatole hold up somewhere.
Yes.
Hey,
But
y'all
I mean,
got
it's
you guys got Tim Cook. I mean, come on now, give me a break. You
and the
guys got
Yellowwood fella and a couple
you
other
got
good.
Tim
But
Cook and Jimmy Rain.
but Auburn is not even sniffing. Auburn is getting myrrh for a gift. I mean, that program 4 straight years they got to get back into the conversation. But look,
They're right
here's
there.
the thing about
Got to learn to cheat. Got to get back to the old days when y'all were when y'all cheated as well as anybody in the country. Y'all, Rob, come on.
where's the bag man?
You know what? Auburn's right in there with Florida State right now, just a cut above. That's just I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen a team reverse their fortune so fast and so badly as Florida State.
Yeah.
That is a
Hey, buddy.
complete meltdown.
Buddy,
Picked the wrong QB.
I got to ask Buddy this question as a writer, as a national Heisman voter, and all that stuff. When you look at Florida State last year, Jordan Travis gets hurt in the game against University of North Alabama, and it makes you think, why play that guy in a game like that? But damn it, the committee used that against Florida State, and then that led to a cancer culture breakdown in the locker room when 31 guys quit on the team and destroyed their culture. I was talking last night to Marcus Freeman's agent, his father. I was with him last night, and they were in the tunnel up there at Notre Dame last week, and they talked to Norvell. Norvell had to fire 5 coaches. It's a bloodbath, people. But by the way, I was with a Southeast Ohio guy today, Lauren, for lunch. Rich Duncan, the coach at Rhodes College. We were talking about you, and because Matt Dean and I were having lunch. Matt, who was on the show Thursdays. Wow, that is a culture of Spartacus, alpha male, just
Spartacus,
really good. Yeah, Spartacus.
Oh yeah.
Well, buddy, what do you think? Do you think they're using it?
I'll tell you what I'm
against
surprised.
teams?
Since if you want to know what I think, this is what I think. I think Oregon being number 1 this year is not a surprise because they were the ones that got on the NIL in the corporate space early. They've been number 1 in raising money from actual corporations and money, in as far as NIL deals and actually how they envisioned
Nike
early.
They got Nike. I wonder they can do it.
Listen there. If you would come up from your phone and talk to your son, Luke, you are my father.
League about that is bleeding. So.
What that? See, don't make me feel bad. I can't. What am I going to say about that? I'm going to be over. I'll come take care of it for you.
I'll bleed to death. Go ahead. I'll talk.
Oh, buddy, tell me.
Listen, I'm just saying.
Watch the Martin family live feed after this.
I know, but I'm going to take it over because I was just there unloading the car. I was there. I'm not the bad son. Don't get this wrong.
Anyway, go ahead, Rob. Rob's just trying to ask you.
Buddy, I'm just saying, buddy. As a national writer, as a Heisman voter, and all, do you think that the committee right now is using it against teams? Say Carson Beck, he's trending in the wrong direction, and saying, "Well, we don't think he's good enough to get him there." Telling you the quarterback, it's the most important position for sure, but people will do that. Yes or no, in your opinion?
Well, that's why that's how we gauge football. I mean, look, not many of us watch the offensive lines. We watch the running backs, the receivers, and the quarterbacks. And if you haven't got a really good quarterback, your odds are you're not going to have a really great team, and therefore you're not going to be in the top 2 or 3. So quarterback play means a lot. I think what we've seen in Georgia, how good was Brock Bauer? I mean, think about what he did to bail people out, and they ran out of people, and I don't think he was that well coached, and he's still a good player, but he's not producing. How can you throw 10 picks in 3 games and be playing well, right?
Dude, he's partying in that Lambo is what he's doing. He's like,
So the answer
going to practice.
To answer your question, I'll let Brendan talk. Rob, they're like us. We're football fans, right? We want to watch Lauren, a team, and enjoy them and see what they got and what makes them different, what sets them apart. They got a great defense. We know that, right? And one thing about Ole Miss, you saw their defense is pretty darn good, you know. But I mean, what is the defining position of the team, or which side of the ball? I mean, Texas leaves some doors open. You know, I mean, they got some holes. Georgia's offense has gone south.
Yeah.
And I think Ole Miss has got the closest thing to the package, including the quarterback. That's my opinion. That's what I go by. Okay. And if I was voting for them, now I will have him in my – I'm having in my sights for my Heisman vote. We'll see. But I do get affected by the number of wins and losses, and those 2 losses do hurt them.
All right. Hey, then
that
let me
makes
ask you
sense.
guys the question based off of my father's comment. My father, what would you rather have if you had to choose one or the other in the SEC as a head coach? The best quarterback, like great, like amazing, like you're gonna have, you know, I guess Tim Tebow type dominance type quarterback, like that, or like, yeah, top 5 defense with, like, you know, pretty balanced team. What do you think you could, if you had a pretty balanced team and like a crazy great quarterback, or do you want a crazy great defense? So which one do you rather have, Rob?
Crazy great quarterback because he touches the ball on every snap on offense.
Yeah.
Okay. But this is SEC now. Okay, go ahead, Lauren.
I'd say crazy great quarterback because good offense. I mean, in this day and age, the way the game has evolved is can beat good defense.
Okay. Francis?
It's got to be the quarterback. Quarterbacks have more opportunities to dominate a game than defensive players. How often do you see, for example, a Wilbur Marshall type game or a Lawrence Taylor type game when they take the game over completely? It's really, really rare when that happens, but quarterbacks do it every week. And sometimes you get a quarterback that goes on a roll and he does it every single week of the season when it becomes crunch time.
Well, quarterback for me, buddy. You've always explained that.
Can
Buddy,
I add one thing real quick?
Go ahead.
This is the dumbest thing in the world. When I was watching, it might have been Chris Dorian SEC show, and someone said something about who will get the most touches. There was a quarterback and it was a running back. Somebody said, the quarterback's going to touch the ball every play. What do you mean? So you don't have to worry about it. He gets to touch the ball every play. So it is, you're right. The quarterback is the most important decision.
Yeah. I want to throw one at y'all. DJ Lagway as a freshman, total package, passer, runner, everything. Y'all have forgotten more about Florida than I know. Is he more impressive? He doesn't have the team around him than Tebow, or is he just different? Because I'm looking at quarterbacks, and I hear about Iamaleava at Tennessee. He's good. DJ Lagway's so good, Florida's willing to keep Napier around for him. That's how valuable this kid is. I mean, he's got tree trunk legs. He's fast. He's strong. He walks in the room, and he makes everyone around him better. And if you're a coach, the ultimate fantasy is that your number ones are practicing and playing and working out as hard as your 2s and 3s. That's what a guy like Lagway can do to a team. Yes or no?
No doubt. I mean, I think that's why I think you could see, you know, depending on how things go, and we've all got our issues with maybe the way that the Napier organization does things, but the way that this has transpired, I think they're going to have to kind of take the Ole Miss model and get in the transfer portal to make this football team better. And I think Lagway at the head of the whole thing. I think a lot of people are going to be maybe coming to Gainesville to play with DJ Lagway. I think he has that kind of cachet, and you know, to compare him to Tebow may be a stretch, but I mean, for Buddy, I mean, I'll give Buddy. I mean, Buddy called him special early, and he is. I really think he is. After meeting the young man, spending some time with him, Buddy was spot on, and he could be that dude to get this thing going in the right direction, because I think he has that gravitas where people are gonna want to come and based on, some of the video that they have on tape, and say, hey, I want to catch balls from that dude.
Okay.
Wow.
Well,
That's powerful. But you know what that sucking noise you're hearing? That's other recruiting classes in
I
the
don't wanna
SEC
answer
that,
that
are going to
question.
lose players because Lagway's staying at Florida. You watch out. That's going to happen.
I'm gonna stop here, buddy. I'm gonna say goodnight. Now, if you had a really long day, good night to you, Father. If you need me for
Thank you, Brendan. Thanks for all your help. You were
now,
awesome.
Dad.
Now it's time
Now
to
just take
say
a tourniquet
goodbye.
on that, and not too
I'm
tight.
good.
But
I got
you don't.
my
I'm just down the street.
stuff on it. I got my stuff.
Okay, don't want to know what that's.
Love
about.
you,
Okay,
buddy.
all
All
right,
right, love
I'll
you,
see you
Dad.
the
Great job.
Okay.
Thank
Now
Good
it's
night.
time to
Okay.
say
Good night, John Boy.
goodbye
Okay,
to
great.
all
Hey,
our family.
yeah,
Hey,
now
let me ask
what-
you something,
now-
Brendan. But do you see what
yeah.
I was saying about I'm watching recruiting. I watch it very closely. Y'all do too. It's scary what is about to happen if Florida is serious.
Well, I was going to answer your question.
It's going to hurt other people. Yeah,
I was going to answer your question there before. I think Mike. Maybe I'm just jaded, Lauren. I don't think I'm jaded. Look, I like this new move. Agree or disagree? One of the greatest. Good night, my daughter. Do you need something? You're asking me. Scissors? We don't pretend that we know sign language anymore. We got caught for that. We don't do that anymore. Okay, I love you. Good night. I don't know where the scissors are. Maybe where you lost them. I don't know. Do you think I think DJ Lagway has all the potential to be great. One of the greatest things about Tim Tebow on the entire planet was his durability, his folklore that of winning a game on his leg broken, dragging them down the side and taking them with you. I think there are a lot of amazing athletes out there that were going to be all the things that couldn't stay healthy.
No, I mean, no.
And look, and that's just me looking at the facts in front.
I didn't say, like, remember I said, I don't think he necessarily, I didn't say he would be better than Tebow.
No,
I said, no,
this
I'm
was
saying
my knock where I was
right,
just saying,
right.
Potentially now,
right.
This is early. He's hurt early.
Yeah,
you know,
I think
glass
that's
jaws and things. I know. Again,
I think we'll see. We'll see on that. I hear you, and that's something to keep an eye on. But we'll see.
That was a knock about AR.
Here's the advantage Tebow had, and some of it was because of Tebow. Some of it was because of Urban, though, was that Tebow got surrounded by better players. No question about it. Florida had better players around Tebow from his freshman year because Ron Zook had really recruited well. And then you add a couple pieces like Tebow and Percy and some stuff, things like that. And all of a sudden, Florida's looking better. In 2008,
right. So if Rome is burning, does he stay?
Yeah, he's staying. He's staying.
Lagway's staying. He's not going anywhere. As long as Billy is, as long as they have the foresight to keep Billy, DJ Lagway will be here next year because that's going to be the key. And I'll predict this: Florida is going to pull in. They're going to flip probably 3 or 4 top recruits, maybe bring even 1 or 2 back into the fold who left them because of the commitment to Lagway. This guy. Well, I think because of DJ is why they're going to
same thing.
I think Billy's
cooler pond.
I think DJ. I don't know that he has the. We don't know that he has the will to win that Tebow had. Tebow
was a psychopath.
Well, Tebow was that. Tebow was the Incredible Hulk. You know, the Boy Scout, and then you got him pissed off, and he turns into the Incredible Hulk, which got pissed off the first time somebody.
Yeah, but you had to like kick him in the face to piss him off. And
then and once again, people saying 5. I didn't say 5 stars were going to come because Lagway was staying.
No, but they're going to get a better recruiting class.
Well, and they're going to, and I agree, friends. But there are also guys that are at other schools are going to look at this and say, I want to come play with DJ Lagway. I don't want to stay here. I want to go play. I knew him in high school. We grew up together. I played against him. He's a good dude, and they got a good thing going. And
You're
then
going
when
to
you look
find
at
somebody, Lauren, I'm going to interrupt real quick. They're
Go
going to
ahead.
find a right tackle, for example.
Correct.
Who's going to sit there and say, I can block for this guy, and this guy's going to throw enough touchdown passes that I could go from
Correct.
a third-day draft pick to a high second-day draft pick just if I having a good year.
Correct.
You're keep going. Sorry.
Right. And then but then the other thing is, here's the thing about Lagway leaving. Where would he go? Here's the thing about that. You get to be the starting quarterback at the University of Florida. Good, bad, Billy Napier or not.
What
Let's
does
say
that
Billy,
mean anymore?
it still means a lot, Brendan. It does. This
Does it?
brand, yes, this brand that the Florida Gators
The brand that Billy
it
Napier
does.
is
Well,
just
we're not talking about
drugged
Billy
through the
Napier.
mud.
We talking about
took
the
us all
Florida
over.
Gators.
Well, no,
you
you're
grew up
right.
with.
It's not just Billy Napier.
It's not
the
it's-
entire
but
staff.
but you still. But let's say a new coach comes in.
Okay.
They have this offense. They have this dynamic offense with him running it. And he is the starting quarterback at the University of Florida. It does mean something. It does. I mean, Rob's talked about. I mean,
but it doesn't mean anything with Billy Napier as the head
we're not
coach.
talking. We're just talking about. But if Billy Napier, I think he stays regardless. I think he stays because he likes Napier. But I'm saying if Napier leaves, I still think he stays because where else are you going to go?
I think he stays because Napier leaves.
Either way, okay, maybe so. But if he's he's not guaranteed to start at Texas A&M, he's not guaranteed to start at Texas.
I think he knows he's good enough to start wherever the hell he wants.
No, I don't buy that. I'm not
I think
saying
he is.
that.
He walked in here. He had some.
Yeah, I don't see that. Though. Is he going? He would not be the. He would not be the starter at Texas A&M next year.
Okay, no, he wouldn't. But he's got 15 other teams to choose from.
I mean, 15 that have more cachet than being. Literally, we just had the 4th pick in the draft.
But if you're a coach somewhere, you're not going to go give him a bunch of money.
You don't.
I mean, if anything, you're going to take him away from Florida.
He got a Gatorade contract that goes away. He's the Gatorade man. I'd stay right here. I mean, I think
you would stay in a
burning.
You would stay on a burning ship if that ship was a Titanic.
I think he does because he thinks next year won't be a burning.
Because you're
ship.
like, the hell with it. It's still a big ass ship.
Heck yeah. And I'm the captain of this big ship.
F that.
Well,
I want to.
What if they bring in 40
transfers?
Land,
Call
what if they bring
SOS, get me out.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think
it's water's cold, bitch.
I think it's going to look totally different next year, Brendan. I know how you are, and I know how you feel because we had this discussion.
I'll call me next year. I'll be right here waiting for you. Wait, see you next year, Gator. See you next year.
Y'all are. I think, Lauren, I agree with you. Kids want to play with a winner, and Lagway. People say, "Oh, his stats aren't that impressive. 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions." The way he's been played, he has not really been out there very long. And I talked with a coach that works with the NFL yesterday, and you look at all these quarterbacks, they're forcing to play as rookies in the NFL. They have learned a playbook, but they don't really know college football. This is the product of 7-on-7 football. That's why we got, and you got a guy like DJ Lagway. He was the Texas Player of the Year and a 5-star plus. I think other kids want to come play for him. You watch, as soon as Florida announced, and I think Scott Strickland's doing it to CYA, because if he goes, if he has to get rid of Napier, then he'd be gone too. I don't think y'all are going to give him a third chance to do this. But I think this coach and I were talking, these kids, they're forcing them too early. I think you're going to start seeing more kids stay 4 years at quarterback. We're going to get Brendan.
Wasn't supposed to be there right now at all. He wouldn't be.
I'm going to get Jim Nagy on the show here soon, the executive director of the Reese's Pieces Mobile Senior Bowl. And Jim is knowledgeable. Jim's got 18 years in the NFL, 4 Super Bowl rings, knows the game. I'm telling you, folks, guys like Lagway, I wouldn't be surprised if he stays 4 years. These guys that are jumping with 13 career starts, they're starting out in the NFL because they got to play them because they pay them so much money. But look at Bryce Young. Look at Anthony Richardson, C.J. Stroud. Justin Fields. Watch these guys. How many? Look, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow, a Southeast Ohio guy from around Athens. Those guys understand football, and they stayed in college. I just watch this. I think Lagway stays behind, doesn't leave Florida, and attracts, and they flip 4, 5, 6. I'm keeping up with this. I know y'all are too. There's a bunch of kids out there that committed to other schools because they thought Napier was gone. If you know what now, because here's the deal: December signing period is coming up here, guys. We're talking less than 3 weeks. 3 weeks, it's going to be here. 3 weeks, and then watch this December signing period. I think people. I would not short Florida.
They're going to go get some grown men. That's what they're going to go get. Is some grown
LJ
men.
McCray's got friends. Guys like that don't hang around with wimps.
I think that's all really cute. I don't think you're all
I just watching
I
it.
just think
I'm
you're
just
all
watching them.
smoking crack.
No.
Now it's time to say goodbye to all our company.
Love
Brendon.
you guys. Thanks for coming in.
MIC.
Be ready to go in the
come on.
morning. We got a blast.
All right. Well, hey, listen, Lauren, thanks for stopping in for your show. Lauren will be back next week to host his show.
Yes, sir. It's not my show. It's the Buddy Martin show, but
which really isn't his show. It's really just my show.
Okay, well then there you go.
Always the Buddy Martin
Mr. President.
Show. It will always be the
Respect.
Buddy Martin show. Forevermore, this show will always be the Buddy Martin show.
Good show though, guys. This was fun.
All right.
Shout out to Kelly. Shout out to Kelly Ray Finley and the Gator women's basketball team.
Yes.
Hit the century mark 2 games in a row. Playing well right now.
Talk about the golden. Not golden trip. I guess we'll talk about.
Yeah,
you get what I almost said.
Bring me on in the morning.
I didn't do it, but I really wanted to do it.
I'll tell you all about.
All right. We'll talk to Franz tomorrow. He's Franz Beard, GatorBaitMedia.com. Good night,
Thanks,
Franz.
Jay. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe. Appreciate.
Good night. He's Rob Browne, broadcast partner, and all that good stuff. See him tomorrow. Good night, Rob Browne. Good night, John Boy. I am Brendan Martin, Crown Prince, son of one Wilton Francis Martin, the second. I was going to be the third, but my dear mom had me in my C-section, and she looked at me and she said to me, or to my dad, probably to me, it will not be Wilton Francis Martin the third. Started on one tonight. I want to say thanks to Renstar Medical Research. Renstar's been with us from the get-go. They are awesome. Want to shout out to John Brantley. Love you, John Brantley. Always one of the brothers from this show. Renstar Medical Research doing all sorts of clinical research trials in Ocala and Northern Ocala. Their offices are in downtown Ocala. They are awesome. If you're looking to be a part of a medical trial, you want information on all that stuff, check them out, RenstarMedicalResearch.com. I want to shout out to our other sponsor at Meldon Law. We didn't see him, we talked to him earlier. Meldon Law representing just about everyone that matters in this town. Check him out at meldonlaw.com. He is a proud sponsor of the Buddy Martin Show for a very, very long time. And of course, Titan MRI. They are as well been with us forever. Wow, I did that off the cup. Buddy, I think we'll be on Shane's show tomorrow. If not, Buddy will be back on the regular time tomorrow night. I think it's with Allie. Yes, so Allie Peak Wilbur and I won't say that. One or the other. They're all going to be on there tomorrow night. Okay, I've overtalked my time. I love you all. Thanks for watching, and thanks for your support. And as always, I say, go Gators.